You have seen the scene 1,000 times. Lucy standing at a microphone, a bottle of something unpronounceable, a spoon, a smile that starts confident and ends somewhere between joy and collapse. It is 30 years of television comedy in 3 minutes, and almost none of it was supposed to exist the way you saw it. And we are saving the buried ending they cut from the original because it changes the whole thing. 20 facts, counting down. Fact 20. This episode almost single-handedly invented how sitcoms are ranked. Lucy does a TV commercial aired on CBS on May 5, 1952. It pulled a rating of 61.1. That means roughly 61 out of every 100 American households watching television that night were watching Lucy. When TV Guide assembled its list of the 100 greatest television episodes of all time in 1997, this episode landed at number 2, beaten only by the Mary Tyler Moore show's Chuckles Bites the Dust. In 45 years of American television history, with thousands of episodes produced, one 30-minute CBS comedy from 1952 still held the second spot. Lucy stands at the microphone in the studio and raises the spoon, and the audience watching her has not moved since. Fact 19. The central bit was stolen from a vaudeville comedian with permission. The core sketch of Lucy getting progressively drunk on a product she is endorsing was not invented by the writers. Red Skelton had been performing a version of it since the 1930s, a routine called Guzzler's Gin, in which a television spokesperson grows increasingly incoherent on his own product. Skelton granted Lucille Ball permission to use the structure for I Love Lucy. There is another layer. The 1945 MGM film Ziegfeld Follies includes a filmed version of that same sketch. Lucille Ball appeared in Ziegfeld Follies. She had performed alongside the bit and watched it closely. The episode was filmed in March 1952, just weeks after the Emmy Awards, where Skelton had beaten Ball for both Best Comedian and Best Show. Whether that timing was a coincidence is left to the audience to decide. Fact 18. The writers spent a day and a half just on the product name. Jess Oppenheimer, Madeline Pugh, and Bob Carroll Jr. wrote the episode together. Carroll later told the Television Academy Foundation that the commercial script came together relatively smoothly, but the product name stopped everything. They needed something that sounded like a real health tonic, combined enough absurd syllables to be genuinely difficult to say, and became funnier the more drunk Lucy got trying to pronounce it. Carroll said it took them a full day and a half to land on Vitameatavegamin. Lucy rehearses the name perfectly at the microphone during the dry run, clean and controlled, and then watches it dissolve in her mouth as the alcohol takes hold, until, by the final take, she is calling it Vitameatavegamin and checking the bottle to find out what she just said. Fact 17. The substance in the bottle made Lucille Ball genuinely sick. The production team needed a liquid that looked thick and medicinal on camera, poured with the right viscous drag from a spoon, and could be consumed repeatedly across multiple rehearsal takes without being harmful. They tested honey. They tested other syrups. They settled on apple pectin, a natural gelling agent available at health food stores. Lucille Ball's daughter, Lucy Arnaz, told the Today Show that her mother refused to taste the apple pectin until the cameras were rolling. She wanted her genuine disgust reaction to be authentic and unspoiled. It worked. Lucy takes the first spoonful, and her face does something involuntary. A full-body recoil, she then has to immediately contradict by claiming the product tastes just like candy. Ball later admitted she found it sickening to drink that much of the sweet, thick liquid across all those rehearsal passes. Fact 16. Lucille Ball did the entire commercial sequence in one take. No cue cards. The commercial scene runs several minutes. It involves precise physical escalation, a long scripted speech that degrades word by word, a spoon, a bottle, an escalating reaction to a flavor she genuinely hated, and a live studio audience. Madeline Pugh Davis told the Television Academy Foundation, "The most amazing thing is that she didn't use any cue cards. She did that whole thing in one take," which she did a lot. Lucy steps up to the microphone for the broadcast take and delivers the full descent from professional to completely hammered in a single unbroken pass. No pickups, no editorial assembly, one take. Fact 15. Desi Arnaz had to bite his own cheeks to keep from laughing. During the early part of the episode, when Lucy has to prove to Ricky that she is capable of doing a commercial, she delivers a composed, controlled demonstration. Arnaz later said it was virtually impossible to hold himself together through that scene. He had watched rehearsals, he knew exactly what Ball was going to do with her face and her timing. Arnaz bit the inside of his cheeks hard to prevent himself from breaking. If you watch closely, the effort is visible on his face. Later, during the actual commercial shoot, Arnaz was watching from the studio audience, and you can hear his distinctive laugh on the recording even when he is not on camera. Ricky tries to stay professional at the microphone, and Lucy keeps reappearing behind him. Fact 14. The director of the commercial also had to physically stop himself from laughing. Ross Elliott played the commercial director in the episode. Elliott later said that watching Lucille Ball work through the Vitameatavegamin sequence required him to bite the inside of his own cheeks as well. He was standing close enough to Ball during the studio scenes to hear every small slip and improvised recovery in real time. The director inside the episode keeps calling for one more take because Lucy keeps getting the product name wrong. The director outside the episode was fighting to keep a professional expression on his face, while the most precise physical comedian in American television systematically dismantled a 3-minute script in front of him. Fact 13. Vitameatavegamin is 23% alcohol. That is stronger than most wines. The script clerk reads the label out loud when the director has already walked away. Vitamins, meat, vegetables, minerals. Then, just before he exits, alcohol, 23%. The director never hears it. Lucy never hears it. The audience hears it and understands exactly what is about to happen. 23% alcohol places Vitameatavegamin above the legal threshold for fortified wine in the United States. Early drafts of the script listed the alcohol content at 11%. The writers raised it to 23% because the story required Lucy to become visibly intoxicated within a handful of rehearsal takes. And 11% was not dramatically convincing. Lucy refills the spoon and takes another pull, and the alcohol content is now a co-star. Fact 12. The dress that defined this episode had already appeared in a different episode. The blue and white check dress Lucy wears throughout the Vitameatavegamin sequence is now one of the most recognized costumes in American television. It has appeared on merchandise, posters, collector items, and Halloween costumes for over 70 years. The dress was not new in this episode. Lucy wore it first in the previous episode, The Freezer, while shopping for meat. The production recycled the costume. The first use was entirely unremarkable. The second use became the image most associated with Lucille Ball outside of the pilot photograph. Fact 11. That dress is now owned by Laura Dern. As of 2017, according to a MeTV report, the original dress Ball wore in the Vitameatavegamin scene is owned by actress Laura Dern. The chain of custody between 1952 and Dern's hands is not fully documented publicly. What is documented is that a blue and white checked dress, worn once as a meat shopping costume and once as the outfit of one of the most watched scenes in television history, ended up in the personal collection of an Academy Award-winning actress who was apparently willing to pay to own it. Fact 10. The episode was filmed 6 weeks before it aired. Lucy Does a TV Commercial was filmed on March 28, 1952 at General Service Studios. It aired May 5, 1952. The gap was standard for I Love Lucy, which filmed in front of live studio audiences on a production schedule that allowed for post-production work before broadcast. The audience at the General Service Studios filming in March 1952 was the first group of human beings in history to watch Lucy stumble through the Vitameatavegamin commercial. They saw something that the rest of the country would not see for another 5 weeks. Fact 9. Vivian Vance is completely absent, and the episode barely notices. Vivian Vance, who played Ethel Mertz, does not appear. Fred Mertz tells Ricky in passing that Ethel is off visiting her mother. The episode moves on without her. There is no scene built around the absence, no subplot acknowledging it. Lucy handles the entire scheme of intercepting Ricky's commercial booking, impersonating a studio applicant, and stumbling through the broadcast using only the Mertz apartment hallway and the television studio set. One of the four main cast members is simply gone, and the episode is considered the best of the entire run regardless. Fact 8. Lucy disassembles her own television set piece by piece to prove a point. To demonstrate to Ricky that she could do a commercial, Lucy removes all the internal components of their television set, installs a window shade where the picture tube was, climbs inside the cabinet, and performs an impromptu Philip Morris cigarette commercial from inside the furniture. She imitates the Philip Morris bellhop Johnny by name. Ricky is not impressed. He is significantly less impressed when he discovers she removed the television components one piece at a time rather than sliding the chassis out as a unit, meaning the set is now effectively destroyed. Lucy pokes her head out of the television cabinet, and Ricky discovers the tray of components behind her. Fact 7. That Philip Morris sequence was cut from syndication for decades. The Philip Morris Tobacco Company was the sole sponsor of I Love Lucy during the show's early seasons. The in-episode Philip Morris commercial that Lucy performs was included in the original broadcast. When the episode entered syndication, the Philip Morris material was removed. Audiences who watched the episode in reruns for decades never saw Lucy climb inside the television and pitch cigarettes. The footage was restored on the DVD release. The version most people watched for 50 years was missing the sequence that sets up Lucy's understanding of what a television commercial is supposed to look like. Fact 6. This was the first episode to give Desi Arnaz a producer credit. When Lucy Does a TV Commercial first aired on May 5, 1952, the production received an unusually high volume of viewer letters requesting they broadcast it again. CBS and the production team obliged and re-aired the episode later in the season's run, something that almost never happened with a scripted series at the time. A single episode of a first-season sitcom pulled enough audience response to earn a second broadcast within the same year. Lucy squints at the bottle label during the live broadcast, and the audience response was apparently enough to bring her back. Fact 4. The routine inspired a direct parody 20 years later on the same actress's next show. In a 1973 episode of Here's Lucy, the series Lucille Ball made after I Love Lucy ended, Ball's character Lucy Carter became a spokesperson for Polly Parker's Perky Pickles. The pitch is built on the same alliterative tongue-twister structure as the Vitameatavegamin commercial, a deliberate callback to the 1952 routine. Lucy Carter holds the pickle jar and delivers. Polly Parker's Perky Pickles make any picnic perfect. Polly's Pickles will tickle your palate. It is a comic self-quotation, Ball performing a version of her own most famous scene, knowing the audience knows exactly what they are watching and playing it anyway. Fact 3. The Hangover ending they cut is the fact they buried for 74 years. The original script for Lucy Does a TV Commercial had a final scene. Lucy wakes up the next morning with a severe hangover after drinking so much Vitameatavegamin during rehearsals and the live broadcast. She is wrecked. Ethel goes to the store to help her recover and comes back with a bottle of Vitameatavegamin to spoon Lucy back to health. The joke is that the cure is the cause. The scene was cut. Depending on the source, it was cut either for time or because Vivian Vance was not available that day and the scene required Ethel. The version of the episode that 61.1% of American televisions watched on May 5, 1952, and that every audience since has seen, ends with Lucy stumbling through the live broadcast and Ricky looking horrified. What they never saw is Lucy the morning after, being handed more of the thing that destroyed her and having to decide whether to take it. Fact 2. The Vitameatavegamin broadcast aired at 4:23 inches the afternoon. The variety show Ricky is hosting is called Your Saturday Night Variety. The internal television broadcast that Lucy ruins goes out at 4:23 inches the afternoon, which any viewer paying close attention can see on the studio clock. The show is called Saturday Night Variety, and it airs at 4:23 p.m. Whether this was a deliberate writer's joke about the chaos of live television scheduling or simply a continuity oversight that was left in, nobody has confirmed on record. Lucy wanders out from the wings in the middle of Ricky's opening number, and the clock on the studio wall says exactly 4:23. Fact 1. The entire brilliant performance was unrepeatable and never repeated. No cue cards, one take. Apple pectin she refused to taste until cameras rolled. A studio audience watching in real time. A script that required her to precisely degrade a memorized speech syllable by syllable across multiple fictional rehearsals within a single real performance. Lucy stands at the microphone and takes the first spoon. The face she makes is the face of a person tasting something genuinely unpleasant for the first time. The escalation that follows is the work of a performer who understood exactly how far she could push before the scene broke. The Hangover scene they cut would have given her a final button, a punchline to land after the chaos. Without it, the episode ends on Ricky's horror and Lucy's drunken joy. And 74 years of television history later, nobody has managed to do what she did in that one take. Subscribe. There are more episodes, more buried scenes, more things hiding in the episodes you think you already know. We will be back.